The one thing you gotta change is everything.
Since the first drink I took, like, I was always that guy. I didn't understand what just having, like, getting buzzed was. Like, no, I'm, like, going all the way. Deep down, I knew I had a problem, like, early on, but I never wanted to admit it.
You know what today is. Do you know where you were 3 years ago today, April 11th?
Out of
It was
out
a
of
month.
rehab, yeah.
3 years
I didn't
ago
think about that.
today.
Yeah.
And now look at you. Now you're sitting in the UFC facility about to work out and telling a story. 3 years, does it feel like a long time ago?
I'm going into year 5 already in the NFL, which is like, I don't know how to describe it to people. Like, it feels almost like the days are super long, but the time just flies by. So, yeah, honestly, it's insane. I can't believe it's already been 3 years. I remember the first, like, March 11th when I went in there. Every day seemed like the longest day ever.
Yeah.
Like, I had no phone. I couldn't, like, everything was just completely different and slowed down. And when I was leaving, I was like, I did my 30 days. I'm going back home. Screw this. Like, I'm ready to get home. They were like, no. Like, you're going to sober living. You're going to stay there till training camp. Putting yourself in a rehab alone is the hardest part, admitting you got a problem. But I wasn't ready. I think it was 2.5 months I ended up staying there. You know, looking back on it, like, that was something I truly needed because I wasn't ready to go back to Vegas after 30 days. Like, I just left that house and I was blacked out the last time I was there.
Maxx, with 2 X's, Crosby, was born August 22nd, 1997, to parents Brian and Vera in Colleyville, Texas, a Dallas suburb.
The day you're born.
Yeah.
You were 11 pounds, 9 ounces.
Yeah, I was a big boy.
A big boy.
Big boy, yeah.
Vera
Vera.
did, she had to do some work, and now having a child of your own and seeing what
Yeah.
Rachel went through,
Oh my
you
God.
can appreciate Vera even more for what happened.
1,000%. My mom is she's a warrior.
She
For
sure
sure.
is.
For sure, yeah. For me, like, I was a middle child, you know, insecure, redheaded kid. Like, I didn't have the girls, I didn't have any of that. Like, and my brother was like the man. He was a pretty boy, got all the girls. Like, so in my head, I was always like, I'm trying to be like him. Like, they don't want me. But like, it was always like a constant, like, internal battle. I never expressed it to him, but like, I had that jealousy and I wanted that life. And like, I just wasn't happy as a human being. Like, I just was constantly just self-sabotaging and just making it worse and worse and worse and trying to drink away my feelings and then repeating and doing the
When
same.
did you start drinking?
I started in high school. But yeah, that's just kind of...
And you loved it, right, when you started?
Oh, immediately. I was like, you know, for me, the drinking was like kind of like that, you know, that pivot to where I could, you know, open
Gave you the
up.
confidence
And, give me the confidence. And, you know, and then football started happening and I started, you know, growing a little bit and became a good football player. So it kind of just like, it worked hand in hand because I got confident and I'm drinking out, so I'm confident
I'm
and
the
drinking.
man,
And it's just
and
like, so it was just like a bad cycle, but that's kind of how it started.
Eastern Michigan was the only scholarship offer Crosby received, but he made the most of it, earning first-team All-MAC in both 2017 and 2018.
In college, you stopped drinking for what, was it 9 months? After you got a DUI.
Yep, I got a DUI.
In college, and did you think in that moment, like, I'm gonna lose this all if I don't stop? Like, what made you stop and why did you go back in that moment?
Yeah, I give a lot of credit to my head coach, Chris Creighton. He was the one that like started that. He's like, if you drink at any point, like you get the first game, you could play the second game, whatever, but if it's week 7 and I find out you're drinking, you're suspended that next game, I don't care. And in my head, like I already made it up, I'm leaving early, I'm going to the league. At that time, like I was getting sober for basically, obviously selfishly for my career, because I knew like what my vision was, but like at the same time, I was just staying sober to get through this football season.
2019, it's the NFL draft. Take me through that day, sort of the emotions and storyline there when you look back on that.
That was extremely stressful. I had teams, you know, mention to me, you know, being a top 100 pick. And so I'm waiting day 2 and I don't get drafted. And I'm sitting there with my whole family, all my friends, Rachel, like I was just sick to my stomach and I just walked out of the party. I'm pissed, I'm like sick because going into day 3, you don't know what the hell is gonna happen.
Hello? Who's this?
I knew the Raiders had 2 picks. They had 106 and 109. I just, for some reason, like, it's the same thing. Like, things happen for a reason. Like, it just makes too much sense. I'm meant to be a Raider.
I am, Coach, I promise. Thank you. Thank you so much. Yes, sir.
In his first year, Crosby had 10 sacks and finished second to Nick Bosa for Defensive Rookie of the Year.
You got a great rookie season.
Yeah.
And then what's the reason why you allowed yourself to sort of revert back to, dare I say, old ways?
After my rookie year, that was the first time, like, in my life where it's like, all right, I got money for the first time.
You got an off season.
I got an off season. I don't have to be anywhere for this
No
amount of
class.
time.
Yeah.
No class, nothing. Like, and it was the worst thing for me at that time. And I just went on a spiral, literally for like 3 months straight. It was bad. So.
Does it trip you out a little bit to think like, I was able to even get here and operate at this high level when I wasn't sober, and now what you can do in sobriety?
That was the one thing I felt like was holding me back. That first year of sobriety was so hard, and I went through so much mentally.
Following the 2020 season, Crosby had surgery on a torn labrum and broken hand, injuries he played with most of the year.
I got my surgery, we went back to Vegas, and like literally everything changed. I sat with a nutritionist, got with the strength staff, got with everybody. I'm like, listen, I'm not trying to be a middle of the road guy or a good story. Oh, he got sober in the league, whatever. I'm like, I'm trying to be the best. I'm gonna do everything I can to make it happen. In these past 2 years, like literally went from like a middle of the road guy to an all pro. And I still know I got room to grow. Yeah, it's
I'm
crazy.
such a loser. I have chills right now
Yeah, it's
thinking
crazy.
about like, yeah, because
crazy.
I like that winning mentality and
Yeah.
doing whatever it takes to win. And
Yeah.
that's why you're sitting here. And it's also why the Raiders rewarded you.
Initial here.
On the second anniversary of his sobriety, the Raiders gave Crosby a new contract worth $53 million in guarantees.
One more. 2, 3, perfect.
There you go.
I appreciate you guys.
Happy days.
Yes, sir.
I'll let you guys do what you
All right,
gotta
buddy.
do.
You got it, bud.
Appreciate
Congrats.
it. Yes, sir. Thank you.
Congrats.
In 2022, Crosby had his best year yet. He led the league in tackles for loss with 22 and recorded a career-high 12.5 sacks.
People always say something about me, you know, he's just a try hard, he plays hard, that's what he does, and then all of a sudden I start getting more respect, but there's always gonna be doubters, and the more love you get, the more hate you get. The way I approach life is I don't give a damn what anybody says. I'm gonna attack it head on and see where I land.
How
I'm
does
just
this help
excited.
you?
Honestly, so last year, I to add into my training, I started doing boxing every week. We do like an hour and a half on my off days.
Yeah.
I've always been a huge fan. I've always wanted to fight. Like I grew up fighting, so like not in, you know, in a gym or anything like that, but I always was interested in it. So I started boxing and it's just been a part of my, you know, training.
This
So
be your other career?
we'll see. You never know.
I know you're waiting for that championship as any football player is and hoisting that Lombardi, but you got a pretty good trophy on your case right now in sobriety, and congratulations.
Absolutely.
That I would venture to say is even harder to get to. So thank you for sharing your story.
Thank you so much.
This is a good
Appreciate it.
one. I feel like we're only in chapter 5. I can't wait to keep reading.
This is a lot more.
Because there's a lot more.